Okay, so with that, we can play the game and see that the character cannot jump, even if we press the W key. Why is that happening? This is a tricky issue here. This is due to how the move and slide method works in Godot, how the kinematic body 2D works. This node is designed to be very flexible and allow you to create all kinds of games. A top-down game like Zelda, as well as a side-scrolling game. Because of that, I'm going to control-click to go to the docs. This function has quite a few optional parameters, and one that's very important is the floor normal. This is a vector that is perpendicular to the floor and pointing away from it. We need that floor normal to be set for Godot to tell us what is the floor and what is not, for the isOnFloor function that we're using in our getDirection function to work. So we have to pass in that second parameter, the floor normal here, and it's going to be a vector2 pointing up. So you can use vector2.up, which is a constant defined on the vector2 class. It's a vector2 with a value of 0, -1, like so. We can use this vector2.up constant in every one of our characters when we use move and slide, or we can define a new constant on the actor class. It's up to you. So you could say, like that, go to actor, create a constant with the constant keyword. This is like the other variables below. This allows you to put a label on a given value, but you're not able to modify it later. This is a constant value. And we can say floor normal is going to be equal to vector2.up. The advantage of having that kind of label is that when we go back to our player here, we can see that the second parameter in our move and slide function is our floor normal. Now I've made a typo here, something that can happen. I've written velocity instead of new velocity in my calculate move velocity function, making it so the calculation would not work. With that fixed, the character can now jump like you would expect. It doesn't jump very high, the jump height and the impulse of the jump being controlled by the speed value, its y-axis. So I can bump it up to 1400, for example, and press up. You can see that now the character jumps much higher. We're going to add the option to interrupt the jump. So make the jump a bit more like the one you see in Mario, where if you press for longer, the character will jump higher. To do so, we're going to add a new variable in our physics process function on the player called isJumpInterrupted. It's going to be a Boolean, as the name suggests. So a value that can be either true or false. This one's going to use an expression a bit like the one that we have in getDirection. We want to check that we just released the jump key. So if input.isAction just released, jump, and that the player is actually jumping. So velocity.y is lower than 0. If the velocity.y is negative, the character is going up, so it's currently jumping in the middle of a jump. And we're going to pass that value to our calculate move velocity function, so we can use it there. So isJumpInterrupted will be our fourth parameter. Now we have to go down to calculate move velocity, add our isJumpInterrupted down there, and it's going to be a Boolean value, so that around the end of the function, we can add that condition. If the jump is interrupted, we are going to set velocity or new velocity.y to 0. And then we return that new velocity. This is going to make it so if I keep the key down, the character jumps to the full height. But if I release it really quickly, the character stops its phase going up and starts to fall instantly. So based on how long you press the key, you can now modulate the height of the jump.